This is the inside of the Elddis Majestic 275. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on the master button just here. Beside this, we then have the water pump button. So water pump off, water pump on. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it has been drained down. Master button for all of the onboard lights, and then the majority of the lights can then be turned on and off on their own individual switches. Awning light on and off just here. And then if I begin to scroll, we will get varied amounts of information. So at the moment we have the time displayed. We then have how much water is in the fresh tank, how much water is in the waste tank. We have the settings menu. If I now press enter, we can go into this. And we then use the arrows. So we can change the contrast if required, change the beeps on and off, how quickly it goes into standby when you're not pressing any buttons. We can turn alarms off for both low water in the fresh tank and high water in the waste tank. We can turn the alarm off, which would let you know if you lose main supply when connected. And the alarms for both the vehicle battery and leisure batteries. Anything you want to change, just literally hit enter and you will then go into it. Auto battery you can ignore, it's not used on this particular model. The firmware that this control panel is running, and then just exit back to the main menu. If I now continue, battery selection, you can only select the leisure battery. If I now press enter, yes, it will go over to the vehicle, but in about a few seconds it will then just automatically click back to the leisure. The condition of the leisure battery, and then back to the beginning again. If I now move down to the Aldi control panel for the heating and hot water, we turn it on just on this button here. And on initial startup, it will let you know if you have main supply connected. It will then give you the internal temperature of the motorhome. And this little circle here just represents the circulation pump for the heating system. Whenever the pump is running, you will get this circle. If I now press menu, it will bring up the basic functions. So at the top here, we have the thermostat for the heating. Literally just plus and minus, pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will drop all the way down to 5 degrees for frost protection and go all the way up to 30 degrees. Next we have a little picture of a shower head, and this is for hot water. So hot water is off, hot water on, hot water in boost mode. The boost mode was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water very quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating is in operation, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use the extra power. So even though now I've turned the heating on and the hot water, the system hasn't actually fired up yet because we haven't given it a power source. So if we want to run it on main supply, we come to this one just here, and I can run it on 1 kilowatts, 2 kilowatts, or 3 kilowatts. This is all just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on. And if you don't have main supply, you can run it on gas by highlighting the flame. And if you have both power sources available, you can also run in dual fuel mode. This is very handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. The ACC can only be used by the workshop. And if I now go into the cog, this is the settings menu. And within here, you'll see we have a moon and a sun. The moon is for night mode. If you want to be using night mode, turn it on and off just at the top here. Set the temperature you would like it to be for that period. Set when you would like night mode to activate and whether it is for all days of the week or just an individual. And then when you would like night mode to finish. We then have in the corner here, invert the backlight. So during the night period, this screen would go to black and the writing would go to white. And we can also tell the boiler that we don't want any hot water throughout this period, which is very handy if you're wild camping to avoid wasting gas heating hot water whilst you're asleep. Next we have a picture of a sun, and we have virtually the same again, but just for the daytime. Prioritize is what the system prioritizes in using when in that dual fuel mode. So at the moment it favors main supply over gas. So once it's at temperature, the gas will cut off. If you are on a very low amp site, you can flip it on its head so it's consuming more gas and less electricity. This particular one is not used on this particular model. And then this one here is just so you can set the correct time, day of the week. And if you tick the show, it will then show it on the main screen. Again, I now arrow down. Again, majority of these are not used on this particular model. It's if additional items were added, like underfloor heating, etc., aircon, anything like that. But we do have this one here, which is a load monitor. So if you know how many amps the site is that you're on, so let's say we're on a relatively low 10 amp site, you can select this. It then doesn't matter that I'm running on 3 kilowatts because the load monitor will avoid the heating system tripping. Again now, if I now just turn this back to off again, and we continue to go down, we have this one here which is antimicrobial. If this is activated and you're using this, this will come into operation in the middle of the night, heat up the boiler to kill off any bacteria that may be in the system. And then beside that we just have the temperature offset for the internal thermostat. So if you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. High altitude mode just here. So if you are using the motorhome 1,000 or more meters above sea level, just activate this to make the system run efficiently. Key beeps on and off. One delayed start and stop to the system, so you could set it so the system fires up on Monday at 7 o'clock in the morning and then turns itself back off again on Saturday at 12 in the afternoon. Pump settings for the heating, just literally leave it on thermal. If I now arrow down, full factory reset, so if there is a problem you can just reset it back to factory. External start, next to that you do have to have additional SIM boxes added if you want to use the Elddis system in conjunction with an app. Language, service, more for the workshop, but it will let you know what everything is up to. Installed accessories, there is nothing else that is really needed to be activated in here. And then as you can see we just go round and round in a circle. If I now move to the front bench seat just here and remove the cushions, and I now lift up, we have a good amount of storage beneath here. We have the Aldi boiler just here and the gas isolation tap for it just here. Obviously wherever there's a gas appliance you will find a gas isolation tap pretty close to it. They're all in the on position and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say they are more for maintenance than anything else. if you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. Tucked in the corner here is a fan, and then there is another one also underneath the other bench seat. So if you've got your Aldi heating on, what you can do is turn those fans on so it blows warm air into the cab area. The switch for the fans is just located here. With the Aldi boiler itself, to drain it down for winterization, the drain valve is just tucked at the back just down here. It's the little yellow lever. All you need to do is lift it up and it will then begin to drain all the water out of the boiler. Before doing this, always make sure that the water pump has been turned off. If you're fully winterizing the motorhome, I always suggest that you do also go around and open up all the taps as well, because this will help release any airlocks in the system and make it drain down much more efficiently. When it comes to refilling, make sure that the yellow lever is flapped over as it is at the moment. Fill up the fresh water tank, make sure all the taps are reclosed, turn on the water pump, and then it will begin to refill the boiler back up again. Let the pump run for a few minutes, and then once the water is running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. Underneath the other bench seat is storage, and then you can also see the other fan location just there. Beside this, we have the consumer unit. So at the top just here, we have the trips. So we've got the individual MCBs, main RCD, and the test button just there. So if anything is not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped at this point here. If you haven't tripped here, it's more than likely that you've tripped at the site end. Directly beneath it are the 12-volt fuses. Again, all labelled up. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if a fuse is blown. And then tucked at the bottom just here is the isolator switch for the tank heaters for both fresh and waste water tanks. If it's in the on position like so, if there's water in the tanks and the temperature outside drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, the heaters will come on to avoid frost damage occurring to the tanks. The battery charger itself just sits at the back of this unit, so just make sure that it is kept ventilated. The leisure batteries are just located beneath the carpet just here. So as you can see, you have this compartment, just lift it up, and as you can see, both the leisure batteries sit in the floor at this point just here. Both leisure batteries are charged from the main supply when the motorhome is connected via the battery charger. They're also charged from the alternator when the engine is running, and then they are also charged via the solar panel on the roof. The solar panel regulator just sits in the overhead locker just here. You do not need to do anything with this regulator. It will just smart charge the leisure batteries as it is required. As you can see, you've got a green solid light on at the moment just here, indicating that the batteries are fully charged. Whenever it's popping a charge into the batteries, it will flash. Directly beneath that is the television aerial. So we've got the digital amplifier for the aerial just here, on and off, and then control the boost just here. To raise the TV aerial, unscrew and then push up and then twist to get into the position you require, and then retighten. Try to avoid over tightening these collars because you can split the plastic. At the moment the aerial is sitting in the horizontal position. It can be flipped to vertical for additional tuning, and you do this just by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. The TV bracket is just here, and then beside this we have the aerial fly lead connection. We then have a 12-volt connection just here, 2 main sockets and 2 USB charging points. This satellite one just here runs to the external source on the side of the van. Microwave just here. It's always advisable to make sure that any contents are removed for travel. This will work when the motorhome is connected to the main supply. We have power levels just here, very handy to drop it if you're on a low amp site. We have then wait time defrost, stop and clear, obviously clock timer just there. You can also just do a quick start just here, or alternatively set your time etc. just on this lower knob. The microwave is just plugged in above it. We then have the hob. So we've got the electric hot plate just here, which like the microwave will work when the motorhome's connected to mains electricity, and it operates just here. We then have the 3 gas burners, and it's just a matter of pushing in, twisting and pushing the igniter. Beneath we then have the grill, and again just push in, twist and press the igniter. And then the oven. The oven also has a light. Directly beneath it you will find the water pump. Also in here is the gas isolation tap for the oven, and you will find a plug just here which is for the hot plate. Domestic fridge freezer just here, so on and off just on the button just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as it's on auto it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently connected to mains electricity, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was to now run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And as soon as we start the engine of the motorhome, it will then automatically go over to 12-volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. You can take it out of auto if you want to, just by pressing the mode button. So I can manually select 12-volt maintain. We're going to get an error appear because the engine's currently not running. I can manually put it onto gas. And then I can also manually put it onto mains. But auto is the easiest function to have it on. Temperature control just here. And then we have freezer box at the top. Travel catches come across. And then we have the fridge at the bottom. And again, travel catches again. Storage beneath it, and again the gas isolation tap for the fridge is just here. We then have the sink. Freestanding table just beside the fridge. And then above my head is the Omnivent fan. To use this, firstly, wind the roof vent open, and then middle button to turn the unit on. And then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are closed for travel. Sitting beside this, we have the PIR sensor for the alarm. Every now and then just press the button to make sure that it is working, because it is wireless and requires batteries. Also in the ceiling at the front here, we have both the smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm. Again, just press the buttons to make sure that they are all operating correctly. At the rear we have the washroom. So we have the basin just here. And the shower cubicle. Do make sure that the shower screen door is secure for travel. Fatford toilet just here. So the bowl does swivel to open to the cassette. Just slide the grey lever across just here, and then push the blue button to flush. Do make sure that the water pump is on, or otherwise it will not flush. Level indicator for the cassette just here, so this will illuminate to let you know when it needs emptying. And then reclose just here. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left this open. Wardrobe just here. And in here you will find the header tank for the Elddis heating system. So you just need to make sure that the fluid level is within the minimum and the maximum. Always take your reading once it's up to temperature, as it will expand in the tank. If it does need topping up, you can do this yourself by removing the cap just here. There you go, you can see the cap. If you are going to do this, do make sure that you are using the correct Elddis top-up solution, and this is the long life 5-year one. With the beds in the 275, you can either have 2 singles or a double bed. The double is very easy. It's just a matter of slightly lifting up and then pulling both sections across, so they meet in the middle like so, and then it's just a matter of dropping the cushions into place. I personally flip them over, but it does just come down to personal preference. So as you can see, once you put the cushions into place, you still have a slight gap, and this is what the supplied infill is for. This infill can go wherever you like, and the same with the configuration really of the cushions themselves. Both the passenger and driver seats swivel round. They swivel round on the levers, and then you control their movement backwards and forwards on the bar just here. They're also height adjustable, just on the levers just here.